Hey everybody, how you guys doing? I'm back. Hope everybody is having a fantastic month. It's the holidays, right? So I hope you're out celebrating and doing what you need to do. I myself am not a holiday person. I will be, like Thanksgiving, spending it by myself, which is just fine, because if you truly knew why, then, we're not going to get into that. That's the topic of a completely and totally different subject. But today's video, I've been asked several times, more than once, to please talk about fear and grief. And I talked about fear in my video about fear, right? So I guess we can jump back into that a little bit. We won't go too much into it, but a lot of people are in this state right now. They're fearing and they're grieving for whatever it is. So what is grieving? Grieving is, heartbreak, heartache, sadness, pain, loss, suffering, anguish, all part of, or a sub part of fear, right? You could have lost a loved one, a mom, a parent, and God forbid, if you're a parent, you lost a child, right? That grief is unrelenting, but we'll get into that in a minute. So today's video is going to be about fear and grief. So we'll briefly talk about fear again, right? What is fear? As I said before, fear does not exist. It's an illusion. It is created by the mind, right? So if we step back to our very beginnings of fear, right, and guilt, where did that stem from? We are one, right? We are all one. Every single being in the universe, we are all one. And that is, we are the direct manifestations of God, right? We have the same love, the same light, the same powers, the same energy. We are created from our Father. Thus we are, as I said before, which this gets people riled up and it's beautiful. We are all gods, ladies and gentlemen, all right? So to break away from oneness is physically impossible, all right? It cannot ever be done. We are one with the Father. Jesus said it, right? I and the Father are one. What he didn't say is you and the Father are one, right? We're all one. Well, he said that in a prayer. I think John recorded it when he was talking to the disciples, Father, let them know that I and the Father are one, that they may all realize that we are all one, right? Okay, so getting back to that, we are all one. We cannot break away from Father. It is impossible. So we came up with a pretty slick idea, right? Oh, I got it. I'm just going to go to sleep and I'm going to dream some crazy stuff. All right? So, in order to come here to incarnate on earth, Father's got to approve it. He's got to say yes or no. And right now, during this transition into 5D, there are trillions of souls that want to come here. They're not allowed to. Only those with the most experience here, meaning everybody here listening to this video and around the world have the most experience to help Gaia, Earth, transition and help our species of humanoids transition into 5D. So when we decided to do that, to go from oneness and then separate, it created instantly fear and guilt. Right? Because now you're breaking away from oneness, the safety, the love, and everything that we are, to come down here, to incarnate, to create this body, and to live out our wildest fantasies and work on things, right? It created fear and guilt instantly. And like I said before, if you want to relate that to the Bible, it sounds like we got kicked out of heaven, right? The fall from grace, when we were booted out and we can't come back in, which is absolute nonsense. This is all a dream, right? But that's what it sounds like, right? And then, in the Bible, it says, Father created clothes from animal skins and taught us, just nonsense. But it created fear and guilt, all right? So when I said earlier, what is grief? It's heartache, it's sadness, it's pain, it's suffering, it's heartbreak, right? Now you mix that in with the fear and guilt, which guilt is in with the grief, right? It's all one. It's all, what do you want to call it? It's all an illusion. It's It's something that we are creating because we feel guilty about wanting to separate from God, Father, Source, whatever you want to call it, to come down here and experience what we experience. And some of the things that we're creating are horrific. You know, they're not fun. It's not fun to lose a child. It's not fun when you are in love with your partner so much and they were killed in a car crash, you know, when you've been together for 40 years. You're suffering. It's a heartbreak. It's loss, right? But that's all part of the illusion, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't lose them. The body is gone. The body may have died a horrible death, but that person, that soul that was in there, that personality of theirs, they just stepped out and went back home, you know. And they want you to know, all of you who are suffering, say, from the loss of someone, child, parent, lover, it doesn't matter, right? You're feeling that loss. You're feeling that grief. And it's tied in with the guilt and, you know, all of that. So again, that's all in your head, ladies and gentlemen. You're creating it. You are the creators of your world. The world that you live in, the world that you see every day when you wake up in the morning and you start your day out, you are creating it. Your environment that you're in was handpicked by you, so you can finish what you came here to learn and deal with, all right? So you're creating that pain, you're creating that grief. They go hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen, all right? It's that simple. So in order to get away from that, you have to look at the bigger picture. Everybody gets caught up in the moment, right? The moment of that loss, you know, you get that phone call and it just devastates you. It feels like somebody gut punched you. You can't breathe, right? You're just standing looking at a wall for, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 minutes, sobbing uncontrollably, right? Well, that soul that left wants you to know that they are wonderful, that they are absolutely okay, you know? And why are you feeling that way? Because maybe you didn't act the best, right? You didn't show them love on a day, or you got mad at them and you yelled at them. You let the ego go for a little bit, right? Okay, and it all snowballs into that big mess that you call grief, right? So I want you all to know, and I don't know if any of you watched that After Death. I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job of talking about what happens afterwards. Is that you're home, okay? And some of us stick around because we travel. We want to let you know that we're okay, that we're fine, we're better than fine, and not to be sad or sorry, and that, you know, I love you, but you're in a different dimension. You're out of the physical, the 3D world, right? You're up in the higher dimensions of where we come from. So pain and grief and sorrow goes hand in hand with fear. You're creating it. You're the creators of your environment. And if you're not happy with that, then you have to fix it. How do you fix it? That comes down to your energy and your manifestations. You create your own world out of your thoughts, right? Spoken or unspoken. I cannot tell you this enough, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you do not speak something does not mean it's not going to come back to you, okay? If those are negative thoughts coming through your head, you know, and you're letting the ego run wild without speaking it, it's going to come right back to you. It's going to get into the non-physical. It's going to mesh up with all the other hate, anger, violence, and it's going to come back at you. You are the creators of your world, of everything. Okay, that includes what's about to come back to you if in your unspoken thoughts, right? That's going to come manifesting back to you and say the loss of a job, a car accident, you know, somebody got hurt or whatever. It's you want to call that karma. It's not karma, but those are your thoughts, that are coming back to you, and it's meshing with all the other negative thoughts from everybody else in the universe, and it's coming back. So in order to get rid of that fear and guilt, you have to understand, or that grief as well, so you have to understand one very important thing. They went home, okay? They went home, period. They are loved, and they had most will have the most beautiful transition home. All right, they will be filled with love and happiness and everything else. Some, if you're too attached to the physical realm here, like Howard Storm, I have a great job, I can't die, I have all this money, and I have these degrees. You're going to enter the void and have a distressing NDE or a distressing trip home in the beginning. So, and again, it's all created through your mind. Your grief, your sadness, your pain, your suffering, your heartbreak and heartache, it's all created by you. You are the power, ladies and gentlemen. You are the power. So when I tell you to grab hold of that and change it through love, right? Remember how much you love them, all the good times you had, and embrace them as they went home. I'm so happy for them, right? I'm so happy they got to go home, and know that you will see them again. When it's your time. When your contract is up, you're going to go home. It's that simple. There is no human God waiting up there to judge. No, you are, like I said, the direct manifestation of Father. Period. You are going to go home or wake up. The part of you that's here driving this vehicle is your personality that you have obtained through hundreds or thousands, in my case, thousands of lifetimes. That's what's driving this body. It's simply my personality, nothing more. So it was a hard lesson for me to learn, because we as humans, right, the vehicles that we're in, humans, we're so lost, right? We're so lost and caught up in the pain of a divorce, the loss of a job, or you got beaten, or you were abused. And that's going to be a topic of another video. It's going to probably irritate a lot of you, but that's okay. It needs to be. It's a message that was given to me about child abuse. So, as you guys know, in my videos, I was abused as a child, so we can talk about that. But we get so caught up in that moment, right? Of, like me, I'll use me as an example of being abused as a child, right? I held on to that pain for 50 years, okay? 50 years I held on to the hate, the anger, the rage of, what happened to me as a little boy. Instead of looking at it and saying, oh, okay, I didn't care for that, but I'm gonna move on. I'm just going to take a knife, chop it off and forget about it. No, we hold onto it, and it manifests, and it keeps manifesting until it gets huge and huge, until it becomes so crippling that you have a meltdown, right? Or you're just plodding through life and you're not even living life. You're just existing, which isn't why we came here. And I'll raise my hand. That was me, right? I held on to everything, which is the worst thing to do, because you are manifesting more and more grief, right? More and more sadness, more and more heartache and heartbreak and anger and rage, And instead of stepping out of that moment, right? Which is very hard to do, very hard. And the only reason I've been able to do it is because of my NDE, but it still took me almost 3 years to be able to do it, because all the information that was given to me, it's overwhelming, ladies and gentlemen, all right? It's overwhelming in a degree that you can never comprehend unless you're had an NDE and are listening to my videos. Then you'll understand this, all right? But when you come back and you're thrust into the physical world from where you were, it's bone crushing. I mean, my depression was at an all-time high. I was beyond depressed. I went through financial crisis, everything that you can think of, an identity crisis, because like I told you before, who I once thought was Jason Janis was simply an illusion, a see-through. I'm not Jason Janis. This body is called Jason Janis. I'm not Jason Janis. I'm neither male or female. I am simply love, light, and energy, period. Existing as pure consciousness. The body I'm driving is Jason Janis, but I'm not. And that was very difficult for me um, to accept in a way, because you can't go 50 years and then all of a sudden that just stops, like cut off. You know, your anger is gone, your rage is gone, your hate, all of that. And it was filled with a love that's not from this world and a sense of humility that I've never had in my entire life. And now, hey, go. Uh, yeah, I was filled with grief. And until that moment when I was yelling at God, yelling, I was mad. You picked the wrong guy. You picked the wrong person. You know, wrong. Long story short, why not? You are my son. And that is when I let all the pain and the grief and anger and all of that go, and I surrendered. Yes, I had the NDE, so it made it easier, but it still took me a long time to get to that point. And I filled it with love, ladies and gentlemen. So now when I see things happening, or, you know, I really don't watch the news anymore. I want to have no part of it. I don't want to hear about the wars. I don't want to hear about any part of that. It just sickens me. It saddens me. You know, like I said before, I don't judge. I'm not judging Hamas. I'm not judging Israel. I'm not judging Russia, and I'm not judging Ukraine. It's heartbreaking for me. I sit down and I cry. And I cry enough as it is. So watching that, and 15,000 people have died on, you know, I was like, I don't want to hear it though. You know, my heart breaks for those families. I get emotional like I am now. So I want no part of it. So what I'm saying is fill that void of grief and fear, and fill it with love and humility and peace. All right. And then you won't have that fear. I know that none of this is real, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This world that we're in. Okay. And I could take it one step further, which would really freak you guys out, in that the universe isn't real. It is a figment of our imagination and how creative and powerful we are. You may go out into work in the morning and stomp your feet on the ground and say, well, it feels real. It's nothing more than a hologram. You know, we are too. Like right now, you can feel that. It feels physical, but in reality, it's not. My hand would go right through it. It doesn't exist. This is how powerful we are. So you are creating that grief. You are creating that fear. Okay? And I'm here to tell you, and that's because, you know, you separated yourself from God, from Father. So you could come out and live these delusional fantasies, you know? And I'm not about that anymore. I want to create a world in which I see, which is nothing more than love and peace and happiness and prosperity and abundance of money and health and joy, because that's what we're all seeking, right? And that's why people go out and get drunk and do drugs, right? They want that freedom away from the ego. They want that sense of peace away from the pain, the suffering, and the grief, right? And the guilt about everything. So take that and fill it with love, because that is the only thing that is real here, ladies and gentlemen. It will get rid of your fear. It will get rid of the grief. And remember that none of you have ever done anything wrong. Nothing. Okay? There's no human God up there waiting with a bat or waiting with whatever it is to beat you into submission and send you to some place that that doesn't exist. It's just, it's so crazy, you know? And I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm just laughing at myself, because for 50 years, that's where I thought I was going. And when I was being held by God, or when I merged with the light, I was essentially holding myself, right? Yes, Jesus did show up, and even though I didn't see any of them, I knew instantly who they were. I recognized their energy. Why? It's where I come from. It's where you come from. I recognized it instantly. They didn't have to speak to me. I knew where and who I was. And I was shocked to be there. Like, in that moment, it was like, why, I'm not supposed to be here right now, kind of thing. So I was in shock. So When you can turn around and fill that void of grief with love, and it takes practice, ladies and gentlemen, it does. It's just not going to happen like at the snap of a finger. Oh, well, I'm done with that. No, it takes time. And I've listened to people say, Jason, you should meditate. You should meditate. I'm like, my mind will not shut up for 3 seconds, let alone sit there and meditate for half an hour or 40 minutes, please. And I found out that I was the doofus. It does work. And there are times that I can truly quiet my mind and I can feel my energy. Now, to me right now, it's not as powerful as the one moment that I controlled it. I don't know how. I'd have to find a teacher, but it came from the top of my head and the size of a ring, like about that big, and it went down my back all the way through me and instantly took the pain away. I commanded it twice and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. But for now, when I meditate and I'm in that zone and I'm in a really good zone, I will feel like waves of love come woof out, but it feels like a 9-volt battery right now. But it's a humming, it's an energy, but that energy is also love. And I get very warm, you know. So I have to sit in just a t-shirt, otherwise I start to sweat. And there's times I'll meditate and I can't find my groove, but it doesn't matter because you're trying, and the non-physical knows that. They know it, and they are waiting, and they send that love. They send their messages. They send everything to you, okay? So please, don't get frustrated if you try meditating or if you're listening to me, and to get rid of that pain, to get rid of the grief, to do what you need to do. I told you guys, create a mantra, find a safe place. If you're married with kids, you know, say, hey, this is my time. I need half an hour, 40 minutes alone. You guys skedaddle. Go find your place. For me, it's right here in this position on the couch. I sit there with my legs folded, Indian style, and sometimes for me, holding my hands like this is the best. I'll close my eyes. I have a mantra that I created in my head, and I just start speaking it. And then as I'm going through it, I will feel waves of love come. And it takes practice. And you will get to the point of what Jesus was able to do. Not maybe in this lifetime, but you may be able to, you know, create the power that I had, which was moving massive quantities of energy through my body to heal pain and take it away. It is absolutely possible. And I am working on that. It's a daily thing. And if I miss a day or two, you know, it takes me a while to get back in the groove, but generally I wake up 2 hours every morning before work. I'll sit on the couch, I'll close my eyes, and sometimes I'll feel it, sometimes I won't, but that doesn't matter. You know, it's the consistency of which you are trying to. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it works. It will take that pain away. It'll take that suffering away. And you have to realize as well, okay, that none of this is real, okay? None of what you are experiencing is real. It's all an illusion. It's all in a game. It's all in the matrix. It's you dreaming this. If you're not happy with your dream, change it. God is not going to come down here and do it. This is what you wanted to experience. He's allowing you to do that. All right, out of his infinite love and grace. Remember, God is not he. So when I say he, it's because in the moment of my transition, it felt like I was his one and only son. So God is genderless. He's pure consciousness, love, and light. Same thing as we are. All right. Father's not going to come down here and fix it. This is your dream. He's not going to come tap you on the shoulder and say, listen, pal, what you're dreaming is way out of whack. No. He's going to allow you to fulfill your contract. But in the same aspect, he knows what you're going to experience, but you have the power to change that. Only you can change it. You can change everything. And it takes practice. It takes time. So the quicker you get on it, the quicker you are able to get rid of your grief, to get rid of your sorrow. And know, ladies and gentlemen, that if you've lost a loved one or someone so close to you that it feels like you can't even breathe, they're home. Be happy for them. Be happy for them. Love them. Think of them. and continue to love them as they are continuing to love you, all right? Don't get caught up in that pain. It will drag you down that ladder quicker and quicker and further, not into hell, but into the darkness, right? And light shatters any kind of darkness. And how do you bring the light back in? Through love, through acceptance, through non-judgment, right? When we do all of those things, we climb that ladder and we feel better and better. So yes, fear and grief, they go together. They're basically one. They're the same. Okay? Fear is, you get so scared, it's almost painful, right? Same thing. I've got cancer, and all of that fear comes flooding in, and all that grief. Why me? It's just like this, right? So, and it comes from here. Your physical mind is creating that. So don't let it. You have the power to change it all. All right? We as humans have a tendency, we get caught up in that situation that created a lot of pain and grief for us, right? And instead of letting it go and learning the lesson from it, we just hold on to it. We hunker down in it. Well, if you're hunkering down in all that negativity, what are you going to keep manifesting? What's going to keep coming back to you? Negativity, right? Well, that's going to keep you dropping down the ladder. You want to climb up that ladder. So learn your lesson from it. It's like thinking outside the box if you're in college, right? You have to step away from that situation you're in and analyze everything and realize, wow, I was the one. I saw that was me, right? It's like when I go into a hospital now, my blood pressure shoots right up. I mean, like right up. And, what do I say? With the ego, I hate going to the hospital. I died in there. So what do I start doing? I start bringing in all that negative crap, right? Well, what does it do? It raises my blood pressure, freaks me out. And then when I got back into my car, I'm like, wait a minute. Did the hospital do anything wrong? No, I had to go in, for a new job. I had to go for a drug test and a physical. But instead of just going in there and doing that stupid crap, what did I do? I created a whole situation out of nothing, right? Made my blood pressure go up, made me get angry and all that. I'm like, so I got back in the car. I'm like, you dope. You're the one that did that to yourself, right? They didn't do anything. They were, hi, good morning, how are you? And I'm grumpy and, hi, how are you? Yeah. Wow, you have high blood? No, I don't. I don't like coming here. So I'm the one that was creating all of that crap, right? Right. Wasn't the hospital doing it. So it's the same situation, guys. Learn what you learned from in that situation and then let it go. And if you lost someone, my heart is breaking for you, but I want you to know that they are in such a wonderful place. They're happy. They are with family, soulmates. They're bebopping around the universe. They're having a great time. And they will see you when you come home. So let go of that. Enjoy the moments and those times that you were together and cherish them. Cherish that love, right? Because that's really what it is. That's what grief is. It's the loss of that love, right? That you were holding on to. Well, it hasn't gone anywhere. It just transmitted to a different dimension, that's all. And so with that, continue to love them like you did. Remember them. Just get up in the morning. I love you. I tell my son who had passed that I love him every day. My ex-wife, my first wife, she passed away. I tell her that I love her and that I was sorry for being just a bastard. And I'm already forgiven. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have been home. And again, I have no fear of what you guys call hell. I mean, we live in hell if we want to create it right here, right? You can create all the negativity and hate and anger. And to me, that's hell. I want no part of that anymore. So I'm doing everything in my power to change that through positivity, through love. And if I feel myself slipping or falling into the ego, I won't allow it. So, but fear and grief, they go together. They're kind of one. So for all of you who are struggling with that, step out and look at that situation from outside the box. Analyze it, look at it. And if you can do that and you can see it, you will realize that you're creating it yourself. And then let it go, right? when I told you the past, it doesn't exist, right? Everything that is happening in the future doesn't exist. Because, right, if you're doing everything, and doing this and doing that, and all of a sudden 10 years goes by, you're standing in the same spot and you're going, fuck, man, why? Because it doesn't exist. You're going to be greatly disappointed. Because everything, if you look at it this way, is happening right now. So step outside the box, look at it, and realize that whoever is gone is in a much better place. They are loved. They're free. They're home. Look at it and just say, like, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you're home. And love. And that will solve everything, ladies and gentlemen. So that was a good question. I hope I covered it for you. I don't remember who you were. I know you asked me 3 or 4 times and I finally got to it. So I'm sorry that it's taken this long. All right. So that is it. You guys, more comments, you know, I love them. I do read them, as you know. There have been a few that got booted out. If you want to create your negativity with, you know, like I said, this channel is about love and light. I won't. I value it, but if it comes off as just nonsense or just hating, it's gone. Like I said, you'll be hidden from the channel. You don't ever have to see it. Again, put your topics down there, what you would like me to discuss. I do have some ideas that I might throw out there next week, but I know you guys are getting busy with the holidays and stuff like that, but I will try and keep them going. So when you have time, that would be great. If not, you guys have a blessed Christmas. Again, put your comments down there, what you would like me to discuss, and I will cover that topic for you. I love you guys very much, and I wish you nothing but the best health, prosperity, joy, peace, and happiness. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye, guys.